going on, Jerome's? Merry Christmas out there to those who celebrate. Hopefully you have a wonderful day spent with family, friends, and again, so we talked about this yesterday, and actually, we'll probably do like a one-off video because why not? Just thank you very much for spending time with us and this channel, and really does mean a lot. So Merry Christmas to everyone except for Kirby Joseph. Yeah, that shot to Hawkinson's right knee. Or headhunting against Justin Jefferson. Now, he tried to re-enter the game, and then the sideline, the independent concussion monitor doctor just like, no. But then he came back into the game anyway because he was probably mad because he only got one bounty. Jonathan Vilma owed him $500. But if he took out JJ, that's $1,000. That's a lot of Christmas presents, man. So whatever. Anyways, Tell the Truth Monday / Tell the Truth Christmas. Truth number one. Injuries are an excuse. So at a certain point, the Vikings, did the wheels fall off? The Vikings losing 4 out of their last 5 after winning 5 in a row without Justin Jefferson. Sure. Yes. But next man up. But when you start running out of men, then it becomes an issue, man. So yes, the Vikings were on QB4, and Kirko going down really sucks. The Vikings, The Vikings did solve a lot of their early season nonsense and were hitting a groove. Had that Niners win, kicked the Packers' ass at Lambeau, and it's just crazy to think what just a little bit more competent offense would do for this team. But it is what it is. Also, Justin Jefferson missed 7.5 games. Brian O'Neill being out with that injury really sucks. Marcus Davenport. Hey, you remember Marcus Davenport? He was here for like a hot second, man. Murphy Jr. Going out with that hamstring. And, you saw. So Murphy Jr. out with the hamstring. The defensive line with Harrison Phillips, they were severely dinged up. And you saw what the Lions did. They went to Amon-Ra St. Brown. They attacked where Murphy wasn't, and they ran the ball up the middle. That's exactly what they did. It was a good game plan by Ben Johnson and company. Also, Hawkinson going down in game against the Lions. Addison twisting up his ankle against Detroit. Blackman going out as well. At a certain point, again, yes, next man up, but you do run out of bodies, right? So, this season has been a whole lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda. But if the Vikings had, knock on wood, stayed healthy, would it be a lot different than 7-8? Yes, absolutely would have been. But number two, injuries are an excuse, but not entirely. So you look at the Browns. Deshaun Watson went down, and Joe Flacco came in. And frankly, Flacco's looking a lot better than Deshaun Watson, so that could be a blessing in disguise. But also Nick Chubb. They've lost several key starters all over the place with Cleveland. And the Browns may have a chance at the 1 seed in the AFC. It's crazy, man. Or what about the 2017 Eagles? Or what about the 2010 team that shall not be named? All right, so yes, the Vikings have racked up and stacked up a whole bunch of injuries, but looking at the 4 games that the Vikings have lost, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't say that the Vikings were in a close game against the Broncos, which they gave away at the end, or a close game against the Bears, which they gave away at the end, or a close game against the Bengals, which they gave away at the end, or a game against the Lions, which 4 turnovers, and also several officiating calls going against them. You can't say that. Well, the Vikings should have won that game. But injuries. Like you can't have your cake and eat it too. Like we said, there is really no excuse, and the Vikings shoulda, coulda, woulda. The last 4 losses easily could have been wins. And frankly, all 8 of the Vikings losses this year were all by a single score and a play here, a play there, a call here, a call there. Go the Vikings' way, or they just don't turf the ball and they play a little bit better. Those turn into W's, right? So even though, yes, injuries have been a big factor on the Vikings 2023 season, they got no one to blame but themselves for their ass being in the jackpot right now. But also, number 3, playoff chances are not dead. And that's what's frustrating, man. So the Vikings are still at 20%, 26% to make the playoffs, but would be eliminated if they lose to the greasy grimy Green Bay Packers and the Rams, and the Seahawks both win. The Rams are playing at the Giants. Seahawks are hosting the Steelers, but who knows? Who knows, man? Right? And I understand. Oh, they don't have a chance in the playoffs anyway. Fully understand, but at this point, hey, if you lose out, you're not going to be in the top 5 of the draft anyways, and if you get in, you have a chance to piss in someone's cornflakes. And also, frankly, with this being such a young team, also with Kevin O'Connell and the staff being relatively neophyte, I would gladly take an extra game, and also getting more playoff experience. And hell, maybe hit your one time. Who knows? Next up, number 4. They need to start Hall over Mullins. Yes, Nick Mullins, credit. 2 touchdowns, 400 yards passing. That's great. But too many mistakes. And the 4 interceptions, which should have been 6. And also, it's just the fact that the Vikings were even in that game and Mullins gave the ball away precipitously. Also, let's not forget him personally leaving 6 to 14 points on the board ahead of the Bengals halftime. So, yes, Mullins has had his ups. He's also had a lot of downs. And with Jaren Hall, he's an unknown commodity. Yes, he is a rookie. Yes, he did look good on that second drive against the Falcons. Yes, at BYU, he was more known for being safe with the ball and taking care of things. And I think that he's mature beyond his years. And frankly, I think he could and should be in the quarterback derby for the future franchise guy, even though I do expect Kirk to be back in 2024. We'll get to that in a second. So this isn't a full-on, hey, we're tanking the season, let's see what the kid has. This is a balance. This is a, hey, if Jaren Hall takes care of the football and delivers the rock to the playmakers, what up, Sylvie? The Vikings will have a fighting chance against the Packers and then in the rematch against Detroit. So you can have your cake and eat it too in this spot. Hey, Sylvie, move your butt. Why do cats always insist on putting their beehole like right up near your face? Dude, we eat here. Anyways, next up, truth number 5. The defense got exposed the last 5 quarters in overtime. Yeah, so it's really unfortunate to see. But, the Flores defense was a big... Come on, Sylvie Guy. The Flores Hellfire defense was a big reason why the Vikings were catapulted in that 5-game winning streak. 13 points to Bears, 17 against the Niners, etc. But... it did give up that last second touchdown drive against the Broncos, even though, yes, if you give up 1 touchdown in 12 quarters of football, you should be able to win. But over the last 5 quarters and overtime, they've allowed 54 points, and the Lions went 6 of 12 on third down, 2 of 2 on fourth down, as well as 4 of 5 in the red zone, and that's a lot to overcome. That is a hell of a lot to overcome. And you know what's amazing? We'll get to the Lions here being a second. Actually, do we have this on here? No, we don't. The Lions are absolute frauds. All right, so the Lions and the Vikings defense spots the Lions 30 points. They spot them 4 interceptions as well. And also several officiating calls go their direction, and it still comes down to a last second where the Vikings have a chance to win. At the end. So you're telling me that all of those things go in your favor. The 4 interceptions, the defense leaking like a sieve, as well as the roughing the passer, as well as the scoop and score being negated. All that goes your way, and you only win by 6? Cool. Again, this is a team that lost by 15 to Chicago. Should have lost to the Bears week 11 as well. They lost to the Packers. The final score is not indicative to how one-sided that Packers game was, and they almost blew a 21-point lead against the Saints. This is your champion. Okay. Again, ain't scared of the Lions, and they're a very flawed team, and I fully expect to beat them in the rematch. And hey, guess what? Even if the Vikings are limited from playoff contention, Week 18, I fully expect this team to give the Lions a business, man, because the Lions might be jockeying for playoff seeding position with the Cowboys and whatnot. So I say whatever. Just piss in their cornflakes. Go ahead, man. Next up, truth number 6. This is a dangerous time for Justin Jefferson. So JJ is loyal, and JJ wants to win, and I think one of the reasons for the holdup with Jefferson's extension, it's not about the money, because the money is there. Because if the money wasn't there, we would have heard about it from leaks through the media. And Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell, they're not stupid. JJ is this offense, and he is this team. But with the quarterback future up in the air, JJ's played with Josh Dobbs. JJ's played with Nick Mullins. And even though Mullins has been pretty okay, Dobbs, not so much. And we pointed this out several times. Like JJ breaking all these records first 3.5 years of his career, he wasn't throwing the ball to himself. So I think that part and parcel of JJ extending is Kirk being back on a one or 2 year deal, or having a solid plan for the future, investing in the quarterback position at the top of the draft. And you can do both, by the way. But this is the time right now. You saw how dejected Justin Jefferson was after that game. He gave everything. And yes, the entire team was falling apart around him, and there's tons of built-in excuses. JJ ain't buying those excuses, man. He ain't. He wants to win, and he wants to win here. But if it's not going to be here, you want to go somewhere else. And I do not fault him. This is not, hey, I'm not getting my stats, or hey, this is not, I'm not getting my money. The money is there. The stats are there. It's all about winning with Justin Jefferson. And it's not like the normal, Stephon Diggs wide receiver trade situation. Next up, number 7, extending JJ's priority number 1, and also number 2, Kirk should be the quarterback in 2024. And again, I think the Vikings are in an interesting spot because I don't believe their best chance to win in 2024 is to let Kirk walk, which, by the way, can't get anything for him because he can't franchise tag him. So you get a compensatory pick in 2025. Cool. And then handing the reins over to a rookie. Now, this is shaping up to be one of the deeper quarterback drafts in NFL history, respect. And the Vikings, even in wherever they draft at the back end of the first round, hey, could still be in a position to either take a quarterback there or trade up and find your guy, right? Fully understand that, but you can have your cake and eat it too. Because I think that Kirk's Achilles could limit his quarterback market. I think that his age could as well. I think, frankly, the injury could work in the Vikings' favor because it could reduce his overall cost. Plus, I think Kirk Cousins and company, I think they realize that this is the best place to win. He works great with Kevin O'Connell. You have JJ, you have Hawkinson, you have Addison, you have Darisaw, you have everyone. And Kirk, even though he's never left a nickel on the table before in his life, I think at this stage of his career, he understands about legacy, and time is running out, and if he wants to rip off of Jerome Barty, it's going to be here. It's not going to be Pittsburgh. It's not going to be Atlanta. It's not going to be anywhere else that offers him an extra dollar. It's going to be here in the great state of Minnesota, and I think that the Vikings can have their cake and eat it too by extending Kirk for a year or two, but still drafting a quarterback high and also still having Jared Hall in the mix. I think that's the most likely outcome here. And now, could it be a second-round quarterback? Sure. Perfectly fine. And then go from there. Lastly, number 10, we're on to the Packers, right? So I understand, like the worst fans are the ones like, oh, I told you so. All right, I told you this team was bad. Cool. Like, hey, you said this team was bad at the start of the season. You didn't even factor in injuries. So I feel like that there should be an asterisk on there. This is a 7-8-9 win team. You said that at full strength. Right? That's just you being a poo-poo dum-dum. But we should get shirts that say poo-poo dum-dum. But yes, injuries have factored in. But also, I mean, the Broncos, Bears, and Bengals losses still irk me. I mean, the Lions loss is what it is. I mean, it felt like that one was the fix was in from the jump, and the league was not going to let the Lions lose on Christmas Eve. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Still frustrating because I understand people say, well, I had them as a 8-9 win team to start the year and blah, blah, blah. Or you'd be like, oh, after 0-3, 1-4, whatever. But every single one of these 8 alleged losses, could have easily been W's, and that's a tough thing. And again, the Vikings and the Ravens are the only teams in the league that have not gotten their asses kicked. Hopefully that doesn't come to fruition over the last 2 weeks, because I would still love to play spoiler, completely knock the Packers out of the playoff contention, as well as just sort of piss on the Lions. Go ahead. But that's it. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. You know what to do. 10 truths. What are your truths? Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Venmo, Christmas. You know what to do. Skull, production value.